Please bear with me and we'll get through this meeting. Thank you. I've taken a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Creighton. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda, including the following. Approval of City Council meeting minutes of February 18th, 2025. Approval of the bills and claims. Approval of quote from Duet Resource Group in the amount of $11,994.80 for the purchase of new City Council chairs for council chambers. Approval of change order number 1 for the Music Experience Center project with Trivium Interactive for additional services in the amount of $35,500. Approval of change order number 8 for the Surf District Streetscape Improvement Project with Dean Snyder Construction in the amount of $21,266.19. And the following license and permits. Liquor license, Class C retail alcohol license, Ellie's. Class B retail alcohol license, Dollar General. Class C retail alcohol license, Veterans Memorial Golf Club. Class E retail alcohol license, Randy's Neighborhood Market. Class C retail alcohol license, Rookies. Class C retail alcohol license, Tapped. Those are renewals. Class C retail alcohol license, The Cardinal, which is new. And excavators license, Charleston Excavating and Shane Munson Construction, which are renewals. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, second by Creighton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda passes. Moving on, citizens' opportunity to address the council on items not on the agenda. In accordance with the rules of procedure, no action or discussion can occur on items presented during the citizens forum. Please walk to the lectern, state your name, spell your last name, address, and subject of your discussion, and please limit your time to 5 minutes. None appearing, we will move on to unfinished business. Item A, ordinance establishing state set-off program provision. I'll need a motion to approve ordinance number 889, an ordinance amending an ordinance of the City of Clear Lake, Iowa, now known as Fiscal Management, Chapter 7 of Clear Lake Municipal Code by adding a new section 7.09, providing for set-off program provisions, and this is the third and final reading. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Creighton, seconded by Dana. Roll call vote. Creighton.
Yes.
Mark, yes. Bennett.
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Beth Ann.
Yes.
All those in favor? Or excuse me, the motion passes on the third and final reading. Moving on to new business, the 275th Street Bridge Replacement Project, reviewed by Matt Stedding, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Hope everybody's having a good day today. We'll get started here. If you turn to your gray sheets in the packet, you'll see that we're looking to pass a resolution accepting the project funding agreement through the City Bridge Program for the construction of a new bridge located on 275th Street. This is over Willow Creek, just east of Grouse Avenue. If you remember this past December, I did go through this project in some detail when we originally filled out the application to receive federal funding for the bridge project on 275th. We were chosen as one of the applicants to be awarded federal funding in the amount of 100% eligible bridge replacement or rehabilitation construction costs, or up to the full $1.5 million. So that was a great thing to see there. Since this city bridge program is administered on reimbursement basis, all costs must be paid up front and then reimbursed through the Iowa DOT upon receipt of this request. The county has agreed to cover all upfront costs for this project, and the City of Clear Lake, myself specifically, will help with several aspects of the administrative portion of the project. This project must proceed to an Iowa DOT letting within 3 years of this agreement at the time that we send this back. So we'll have a good amount of time to make sure plans are prepared in the way that are necessary, as well as right-of-way easements ironed out beforehand. So any questions on that portion? We also If you flip over to the next sheet, which would be your blue sheet in the packet, you'll see a construction agreement that we put together between the City of Clear Lake and Saragordo County for this bridge project. This agreement goes through all necessary project guidelines and legal verbiage between the city and the county. I won't bore you with all the details, as I'm sure you've all went through this in fine detail tonight. So if you guys have any questions on that, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, just real quick, Matt, did you indicate that the county's going to pay the upfront cost? Did I hear you correctly there?
That's correct. They're gonna
Okay.
pay the upfront cost for construction, and then they'll get reimbursed, upon receipt to the Iowa. Yep,
Yeah, from the state, the Iowa DOT.
correct.
Well, I would just want to say, I want to thank you and the county for working with us on this and working together on that, because I think this is a great project, to get this replaced. And so I really appreciate the way this is structured, and the Iowa DOT, again, with the funding. That's just a win-win-win, I think. So appreciate the county's involvement, yours as well. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Matt, I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
The what-if question, what if it goes over 1.5?
If it goes over 1.5, then we'll have to share costs 50-50 with the county.
Okay.
But we in no way see that happening, but in the event.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Okay, so we'll need a motion to approve Resolution 25-09. A resolution approving. Resolution approving an Iowa Department of Transportation federal aid agreement for City Highway Bridge Program Project 27th Street Bridge over Willow Creek by City Council.
I'll second Beth Ann's motion.
Motion by Beth Ann, seconded by Bennett. Roll call vote. Bennett,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
Beth Ann, Creighton,
Yes.
Mark, yes. Next, we'll need a motion to approve agreement between the City of Clear Lake and Saragordo County for bridge construction. Any discussion? Okay, motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dana, seconded by Creighton. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving on, final plat, Emerald Cove subdivision, review of plat and recommendation. Matt Settings, city engineer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Council. So if we turn here to our chartreuse sheets in the packet, we'll be going over the final plat for Emerald Cove First Subdivision. If you recall, we approved the site plans and construction documents for the Emerald Cove subdivision last spring. It included an extension of North 14th Street, as well as 16 twin homes, sanitary, storm sewer, and water. There was an interior asphalt loop serving these twin homes that was to remain private. Contractors came to the city wanting to get started on foundations, so this was not a typical conventional process, but we received a letter of certification from the project engineer stating that all public infrastructure was completed to the approved subdivision plans and specifications, at which point we did move forward late last fall and accept the public water, sanitary, storm sewer, and the North 14th Street extension prior to that final plat being approved. That brings us up to now. So we have accepted the public infrastructure, have received all legal documentation, dedication, easements, and have construction costs filed for our GASB 34 requirements. The only outstanding item that we have left that we're waiting on, and I've been working back and forth with the developers, but we're still waiting on that required 4-year maintenance bond for the public improvements. So at this time, it would be my recommendation to move forward with accepting the final plat, subject to the city needs to receive those 4-year maintenance bonds. So what that would look like is, before we would give the developer an approved resolution in hand, we would need to receive those before we'd give them the resolution, we need to receive those signed maintenance bonds in hand before we'd turn that over. So that would be my recommendation for tonight. You guys have any questions
Matt,
about
I have a
it?
question, please.
Yes.
Yes, Matt, thanks for putting this all together. So do you anticipate any delay on getting those signed forms so we can move ahead with the project?
So the project can continue moving ahead. It really comes down to if the developers want to start to sell land, they're not going to be able to do it without our signed resolution in hand, because that's what it's going to take to actually record the plat.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Questions? Any discussion? So I'll need a motion to approve Resolution 25-10, a resolution approving final plat for Emerald Cove First Subdivision. Can a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Creighton. Roll call. Dana,
Yes.
Beth Ann,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
Mark, yes. Bennett.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to 2025 Utility Improvement Project and 2026 Street Resurfacing Project. Review of professional services agreement with Veenstra and Kim. Mr. Stedding.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Council. A lot of this will be done off of the map within your packet if you want to follow along with that. But so if you turn to your tan sheets here, you'll see the professional services agreement through V&K for the Highland Drive 2025 Utility Improvement Project, as well as the 2026 Street Resurfacing Project. This was one of the main community infrastructure projects we went through during our budget meetings earlier this spring. So this area was looked at previously and had council support to proceed, but due to budget at that time, ultimately it never moved forward to the construction phase. So the first part of this proposed contract this spring would be the utility improvement portion of the project. If you turn to your map, like I said, on the third sheet in, you'll see we are proposing new water main along the west side of 17th and 18th Street West, as well as the north side of Highland Drive there. We have had multiple repairs take place on these lines over the years. They're only 4-inch, which will be going back to a 6, which between the two warrants replacement along these suggested streets. So we're also proposing storm sewer improvements in pink you'll see on the map there, and those are on 17th Street as well as along the north side of 7th Ave North. The addition of this storm sewer in these locations will serve to convey runoff from the street in these precise locations, which ultimately increases the life expectancy of the resurfacing project and adds a layer of protection to our investment here. So all areas where PCC patchwork and new gutter sections are needed will also be done through this first contracted design phase. So the second contract takes us into next spring where pavement rehabilitation will begin. If you turn back to this map that we previously looked at, you'll see we're proposing HMA work to be completed on 7th Ave North, 19th Street West, West 5th Avenue North, 18th Street West, 17th Street West, West 6th Avenue North, as well as Highland Drive. You can see these limits on the paving map kind of grayed out before you there. So the outline work does encompass the vast majority of this entire subdivision that we're looking at here. So the design fee overall for the outlined work it comes in at $109,100. Now, just note this amount does include both phases of design, so we get final design for the utility portion, which will go out to bid this spring, and contractors will have till the end of this year to complete. And we'll also get final design for the entirety of the street rehabilitation portion, which will go out to bid later this winter. Estimated construction contrast for the contract 1 come in at $714,000. For the contract 2, which is the HMA portion, the first one was the utility. The HMA portion come in at $584,000. The construction contingency for both projects, as you'll see there in your packet, come in at $129,500 for both portions. And the total estimated cost for engineering, legal, and administrative on both portions is $214,000. So total project cost, $1,641,500 is what's estimated. This was a great project which was proposed in the past, And I really feel that this will be great to see come to fruition, and it's gonna be a much needed gain for the community in that area. I think everybody's gonna be very excited about it. And if you guys have any questions at all, I'd be more than happy to answer. You know, a large portion of that, so the engineering, legal, and administrative with the 214, we're coming at 109 now for both final designs, and then Jason and I will get together. I'll handle a lot of the administrative portion through the project in-house, so there'll be some cuts there, so.
All right, any questions or discussion? So we'll need a motion to approve the professional services agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Creighton, seconded by Bennett. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I,
All right. Moving on, ground emergency medical transportation cost report, introduction, Jacob Widman, acting city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Tonight, as you mentioned, I'll be going over the GEMT report. It's in the white sheets in your packet. First, just a little bit of background on the GEMT report. As you mentioned, it stands for the Ground Emergency Medical Transport Report. It's a program that allows public and non-for-profit EMS providers to receive additional reimbursements for Medicaid patient transports. I know we've talked in the past about how those Medicaid transports for the city, the reimbursement we receive is far under what our billed amount is. And so this program is to help cover that gap. It's a program based on actual cost, not on what we bill. And so that's the report that you guys have in your packet tonight, is the actual cost report that we have to submit. So we completed the report for fiscal year 24. The Medicaid unreimbursed cost per transport came out to $1,138.77. This amount will be applied to each Medicaid transport in fiscal year 26 as a reimbursement that we'll receive, and we'll kind of get into that as we get into the report. So your first white sheet that you have there kind of talks about the reimbursement structure. This is a federal program that has a state portion to it. So the federal portion is usually in that 60 to 65%, and then the state portion covers the rest of it. However, for the state of Iowa, they do not participate in the cost share. So the city has to cover that portion of the cost share. So we get reimbursed the full amount, but we have to pay a portion of it in. So we'll end up getting that 60 to 65%, but we'll also have to pay a portion. So in the middle of your sheet there, you'll see the add-on rate is the $1,138.77. The federal share will be about $730 per transport, and then the share that the city will have to cover will be right around $400 per transport. On the second page of that sheet then, just going over the summary numbers some more then. So towards the bottom of your sheet there where it says summary of estimated payments, so the total amount we'll receive through the program is that $127,000. We'll have to put $45,000 back towards it to cover that state share. So the net gain to the city, the estimate here is $81,792.84, and that will vary based on the number of transports that we do have, but based on the transports that we had in fiscal year 27, it should be right around that number. The cost report itself then, I'm not going to go into a lot of details on it, but I will try to hit on some of the high points of it. Page 1 there just has a summary of the unreimbursed amount, the total expenses reported towards the bottom there of just $1.4 million. If you go to page 3 of the report, under Schedule 1, total expenditures, column 1 there, the total expenditures of $1,472,000. GEMT specific expenditures of just over $1 million, non-GEMT of 326, and then administrative and general of 141. And just a note on that, GMT would be ambulance-specific expenditures because they do share the building with the fire department. As you go into the report, there are certain shared costs, and so those costs get allocated based on call value. There's a bunch of different factors, and so some of it gets allocated to GMT, some of it doesn't, and so that's kind of where how the breakdown falls. And I'm not going to get into all those specifics, but they're in the report if you guys want to look at them. Jump into page 13 then, just going over some of the basics of it. So under the average cost per GEMT service box there, you'll see that the grand total of the total GEMT expenses is $1.1 million. In fiscal year 24, we had 822 transports. So that comes down to an average cost per transport of $1,351.04. We, down in the calculation of the Medicaid uncompensated cost per transport, they allocate that out based on per quarter. So it has the total costs per transport, then the revenue that we brought in, and then you'll see that 127,000 on the far right there, and then getting down to that $1,138 per transport that we're going to get reimbursed. So it's kind of the short version of it, but this is a new program that we're enrolled in this year. So I just want to make sure council was aware of it, that we're submitting this report, and I think moving forward it'll be a good program for the city. I was familiar with it coming from the Mars. We participated in the program over there, and we had reached out from our billing company late last fall, and they're like, hey, you guys should join this program too, and I knew it was really beneficial, so it's a lot of work putting the report together, but it's well worth the work. So any questions?
And this is just Medicaid only?
This is just
Just not-
Medicaid only.
Yeah, Medicaid,
Yep.
okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jacob.
So we'll need a motion to approve GEMT cost report.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Creighton, seconded by Dana. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on, Chief of Police report, or Lieutenant report. All right, thank you. Public Works? City Engineer? All right. Under Mayor's report, Mr. Keefe.
I'm the only guy working this month. What the heck? What'd you say? Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thanks for letting me be here tonight. I think Doug sent over some information for as far as calls for February, looking at 114. That's a 27% increase from over last year at this time. No, I mean, every call is a major call, but fortunately we didn't have any huge structure fires like that. I also think Doug talked to you a little bit about, we've done some interviews and we're looking at 3 people to bring on because of resignations and some retirements and so forth on the EMS side. So we should be looking at 3 there. That's going to help out. If they all pass their physical, hopefully they will. Hope we're not hiring somebody that can't pass the physical, but I didn't pass mine. So anyway, getting down to it. Also, I think he talked to you a little bit about the rural trustees. They've been sent contracts, I believe. And I think Doug indicated they're going to be having a meeting with you guys on the 17th of March to renew those contracts, hopefully another 5-year situation for the rural trustees. Now, as far as for us, The kite show went real well. We only had, I think, one call on the ice, and somebody fell and gonked their head a little bit, but they didn't require any medical treatment as far as transport to the hospital, and so otherwise it was great that way for us. I thought the show went good itself. We did have a tabletop training session last month with the Ventura Fire Department. They came over on incident command and how we're going to operate under incident command and set up some scenarios, both EMS and fire, relating to both departments replying to that because of the situation over in Mason City when that fire, when everybody went to that. So we just thought it'd be a good time for a refresher on the incident command system and how it works. We will have a hazmat refresher training coming up the end of this month. We have an outside trainer coming in from Western Iowa is going to be teaching that. Great instructor. He's coming over for a hazmat. We're all required to have a hazmat refresher, so he's coming to do that later this month. Let's see what else here. I teased last month a little bit about something special going on over at our memorial. And Jake was at our meeting, and so he kind of knows a little bit about this. But the association, now this has nothing to do with the City of Clear Lake. This is not the Clear Lake City Fire Department. This is the Fire Association. We've signed a contract with a gentleman that is doing the statues at the Surf Ballroom, and we're going to be putting up a firefighter statue, bronze statue at our memorial. We've signed that contract. He's coming to town to look at how we're going to do that. It is going to be a Clear Lake firefighter that's going to be the model for that. It will be done for September 11th of 2026. It's going to take him a year, but that's the time we're going to unveil it. We're going to be starting a fundraising for that event. We've already received, I'll call it a huge benefaction with that amount. We have a new citizen in town that's willing to, has already donated $10,000 to that operation, but they've also committed to a pledge. They'll meet a pledge to finish this thing for us, so we're on our way. That campaign will be announced pretty soon. Jim Finsett's working on that to get that announced and out in the public, and so we're hoping that everybody, this will be on top of our pancake breakfast, but we're going to be raising some funds for this. This guy's done some tremendously neat firefighter statues around the country, and so I think it's going to be really cool to have that person that we don't know. We think it'll be a firefighter sitting at the memorial. So it should be kind of cool when we get that done, but that is a fundraiser. I'll tease you again, we have another event coming up that same day. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to have not only statewide implications, I think, but national implications of what we're going to try and do. It's going to be really cool. If we get this taken care of, it's going to really be cool. You'll hopefully tell us that at the end of the event anyway, but it should be really, really interesting to happen for us. So that's what we've got set up. So if you see the proposal coming out for our bronze statue, please think about it, see what you can do, okay? You too. Oh, so it's over. Anyway, any other questions for me? Our truck, Engine 4 is back in operation. It's ready for our third truck out now on roll call, so it's back in operation. And everything else, the equipment's all ready to go, so. Anybody else?
Good
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Administrator's Report, review of software purchase agreement with Civic Systems LLC in the amount of $18,400 for community development modules.
Okay, this is the purple sheet in the back of your packet. So we use Civic Systems for our accounting software, utility billing. So this is to add an additional module to bring permits underneath it. In addition to just bringing it underneath it and centralizing that process, right now we just do that through Excel spreadsheets, and some of the tracking there just hasn't been the best, and so we're trying to centralize that into our accounting system so that we can track better when they're due, when they're created. And along with that, it does create the option for people to create their own building permits online. So they can go out there and fill out a form and pay for it right away up front. So it really helps on both ends. On the public end, it should help them submitting requests, and then on the back end, it should help us with tracking requests.
Any questions, Jacob? Comments? So I've never had to do a building permit, but I'm assuming this would be for something simple, for someone to do it online, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, like you could do like a fence permit, something simple like that, would be one that you could fill out and pay for. Some of the more complicated ones, you can probably initiate the process online, but the payments and stuff would be made later on for those.
okay. Anyone else? All right, so I'll need a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Bennett, second by Beth Ann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries. Anything else for the good of the order? Adjourned.